Fortnite is a game that I've played for 8 years. I've grown up with this game, I've seen the lows, I've seen the highs, I know what the game used to be about, and I know the direction that the game is starting to head in. I made countless videos trying to help make the game better by critiquing and attempting to fix any issue that it might have had, and after all this time, it seems like I barely even made a dent of a difference. I know most of my videos are seen in a negative light, I use red text and all that sort of stuff, so people are just gonna think I'm hating. I don't enjoy that being the only thing people see, but once I notice an issue that is pretty massive, I don't just like ignoring it. I speak my mind. I know it's not the end of the world. Fortnite is just a video game at the end of the day, but this game is very far from what it used to be, and as someone that cared a lot about it and has cared a lot about it, I've become incredibly detached from it. This video is going to be a mouthful. Grab a snack, maybe eat your lunch or your dinner while you watch this video. One last thing before I get into it, understand that just because I don't enjoy the game right now, that doesn't mean you shouldn't. I'm only sharing my experience and knowledge that I've gathered over the years with you today. This type of feeling I've had for this game has been going for at least a year and a half. It hasn't really gone away. I don't really know where to start, but I have said my piece for both Season 1 and 2 of Chapter 6. This current season isn't even a third season, it's actually Chapter 6 mini Season 1, bit of a mouthful, but whatever. I'll just speak on this Star Wars season a bit. We've received a Star Wars collab in Fortnite for the past 5 years. We've gotten a lot of these items and weapons before, force powers, lightsabers, some of the blasters. We've seen the Darth Vader NPC like 40 different times. For a season to be labeled the Star Wars season, it's very lacking in the content we should be getting. I kind of expected them to go all out and make it balls to the walls, but it's extremely tame and it plays it safe. There should be infinite movement with lightsabers, dogfights going on 24/7. We should have had a boss that flew an X-Wing or just a spaceship or something that you could shoot down. The only medallion we got for this season is something you don't even have to seek out. It's sort of obsolete because you can just swap between your weapons to avoid the cooldowns. They didn't even change the floating island. It's the exact same thing with the exact same boss fight. They removed boons for this season. We could have had special boons that gave bonuses for the blasters and sabers, even the ships. Now that I'm thinking about it, the medallions we got is basically just a boon, but only one person can get it. The corners of the map were changed, but nothing else was really changed. So now it's the inverse problem of Season 2, where you only land at the Star Wars locations and never land in the middle of the map. I know there are some small little POIs, and I actually really like those, but the main POIs around the map are essentially untouched.
50,000 people used to live here. Now it's a ghost town.
The issue with this mini-season is the problem I've had with Fortnite for a bit, I can say for Chapter 6 especially. It doesn't seem like Fortnite is really trying, and it's more focused on how it can sell you skins rather than sell you a good gameplay experience. The gameplay is alright, but once you try to really get into it, take it more serious, you notice how bad it can be. Bots and SBMM make every match feel the same. Fighting a bot isn't fun. Fighting the same type of player over and over gets annoying. Whenever the item shop has an issue or there's a glitch with a skin, it's immediately acknowledged, but if there is a glitch or broken thing gameplay wise, they don't really do anything about it. And if they do something, it's typically a slap on the wrist. My one issue with bots is Epic deliberately does not tell you as the player if you eliminated a bot. The most casual player you know, a 65-year-old dad that doesn't even know what a Google is, will not know the difference between a bot and a real player. The best example of this is a YouTuber that goes by the name Rasputin. He made a video that talks about what a multiplayer game is like for someone who doesn't play video games. This video will be linked in the description, but one of the main things that he pointed out was that his wife, the person who doesn't play video games, believed she was actually playing against real players, and he sadly broke that news to her.
But she ended up getting a victory royale. After she won, I learned that somewhat recently, Fortnite started including bots into their matches who seem like real players. The goal being that more new players will do well while still thinking that they're playing against actual people. While I wouldn't blame anyone for being annoyed with Fortnite's deceitful practices, it did lead to her enjoying the game a fair bit because she felt good at it right off the bat. And if it hadn't been for me looking into stuff for the sake of this video, she never would have known that a portion of her competition were robots.
I know that new accounts for Fortnite will get 99 bots in a lobby sometimes, so I'll make an educated guess and say that Fortnite analyzed his wife's stats, the accuracy and all that sort of stuff, and realized that bots are the only way to keep her playing. There might even be engagement-based matchmaking, because if you ever stop playing for a week or even a couple days, by the time you come back, you might notice your lobbies feel way easier. I started to notice this when I would spectate players after not having played for a few days. Those videos were actually really fun to make. The servers are so laggy right now, this is actually awful. Oh my god! I died. Bots aren't named something like bot number 1, they're given names like cowtree456, and they also add to the spectator count. So someone who isn't an avid gamer will fall for these simple tricks and think that everything is real. It's very deceptive. My personal issue with bots is they're everywhere in my lobbies. Most of the time, they're even the final kill for a win, and that just completely takes away the joy of trying to go for those. What? That was the last kill? I thought there was like 3 other teams. That was so much fun. Bots should backfill the lobby. As an example, you have 80 real players get in and you can't find the other 20, so the game just throws in 20 bots just to fill it in. The bots shouldn't be part of the matchmaking, and they should put bots in lobbies for players with less than a 1 KD, or something like that. Basically, the people who can't really get eliminations, they're just not really that good. But that is too obvious. That makes too much sense. You know what Epic will do instead? They'll put bots in ranked. Some people don't even think that this is true, and that's another issue I've seen. People say things online like, well, my lobbies never have bots, or I wish I had these streamers' lobbies. I'm just gonna pull the rug out from underneath you. Bots are always in your lobbies. You just don't know what a bot looks like. You don't know how to see organic movement or bot-coded movement. You don't know if that 5-kill win was all real players. I can tell if it's a bot or not based on their shooting pattern. Once you hear it, you'll never unhear it. Some people are just not good enough to see the real problem, and that's okay, but you shouldn't talk about it as if you know for sure. I have almost 4,000 hours on this game, and that's just PC alone. I played console for a year and a half as well. I know when there's something wrong with the game, especially the Battle Royale. I use the term copy and paste like 500 times from the start of this chapter to now. I've said it a bunch of times on stream. I've said it in conversations. It's the only clear thing that is wrong with the game. We just aren't getting anything gameplay-wise that's making an experienced player excited and staying that way at least for a couple days. The fun of new seasons wears off after a day or so, or even just one play session, and you just kind of wait for the next season or next big update to see if they make it better. In most situations, they don't because they have already moved on to the next thing. The spaceships are fun, but they're too good. If you don't use it, then you'll probably die to someone who is, and that's been a consistent thing for like 2 years now. Anyone would think that having infinite ammo for a season is cool, but when you play against a good player, you realize that infinite ammo just allows people to infinitely spam without any risk. That takes the joy out of one of the main selling points to this season. I say copy and paste because most of the content we're getting, especially for the Star Wars season, is something that us as the players have seen before. Force powers are nothing new, and besides the Force lightning, it's actually all the same. We should have gotten more powers for what could have been a very hectic season. Random idea, I know it's not necessarily balanced, but just something to throw in the wind. Kylo Ren has the ability to freeze people in place. Then you could have had the ability to get his saber as well. Could have been cool, don't know. Proof that they just copy and paste rather than rework items most of the time is the returning Mandalorian sniper. The sniper still requires you to reload a bullet rather than have it overheat each shot and go on a cooldown. They also took away the ability to negate fall damage with the sniper's melee. I might have a hot take. The car season actually changed up the game a lot. There was nothing in the season that made me think, oh, that's like this other thing we have. Pushing the issues of balancing aside, the season itself is quite original to Fortnite. In my opinion, people didn't like the car season because Epic didn't implement everything correctly. The start of the season had the issue with EMP grenades not working, which got them vaulted. Cars were able to take you from max health to 0 in a second. The attachments for the vehicles were overpowered. The nitro fists were very overpowered. The nitro splash was very overpowered. And all Epic needed to do was separate loot pools and somewhat tone down how strong the items were, at least within the first week or so. They eventually nerfed some of the things that people had issues with, but the damage was done. This is why properly playtesting will make or break your game. It took them way too long to fix these issues. By the end of the car season, you had several playstyles developed over time, but the issue that has happened with Fortnite for a while now is the saying, if you don't have it, you lose. These sorts of things can be okay if it's only one person that can get the item in any given match. But a season where you need a jetpack to effectively play the game is a bad season, because it's everywhere. Anyone can get it. In the Myths and Mortals season, at first you didn't need anything specific to win. I know the DMRs were very strong, but since every weapon could have a scope, that meant you didn't need to carry it. The only issue with Epic's implementation of attachments was they put workbenches and bunkers that opened way too late in the game. They also stayed that way for the rest of the chapter. There was also a very small amount of them by the time that they opened. With bullet drop, there was actually skill to how you aimed. You had to control recoil and attempt to effectively have long-range fights. But then when you add a jetpack that can fly at hyperspeed, it makes the bullet drop obsolete.
These guys are both... Yeah,
That's
okay.
not fun.
We need jetpacks, dude.
No, I'm just not playing
It's
this
the only
fucking
fault.
dog shit season, Jonathan.
The Wings of Icarus were actually fair because they were much slower and they have a larger hitbox than anything we've ever seen, and that meant bullet drop wasn't worthless. I'm putting all the writing on the wall to help you understand that a season can be really good if the person making it actually knows what they're doing. A weapon like the Typhoon Blade and Kneecapper went the whole season being untouched. Yes, they might have done a little nerf that made it a little bit worse, but the issue was still prevalent. This Star Wars season should have just been a content update in the middle of what was supposed to be season 3, and if that was the case, this would be an amazing season. The bar for content drops is down here. My expectations and the bar for a new season, whether it's a mini season or not, is up here. I don't expect Battlefront 3 from Fortnite. I expect more than just the same stuff over and over. One thing that always rubbed me the wrong way is how ranked went from the serious mode to now you can just camp in a bush all game and hit Unreal. Rewards for ranked should be separate from each mode. Like if I want to get a special wrap, I need to play Ballistic ranked to get that. Or if I want the ranked back bling, I have to play specifically the Battle Royale modes or something like that. Very smart idea, I know, but bots shouldn't be in ranked whatsoever. It just boosts people up to gold or plat, and after that, I mean, like me, I don't really play that much after the fact. Bots don't make the match competitive, they make it feel way easier. We should always have separate loot pools for the main Battle Royale, and the best way to do this is just mimic the tournament loot pool. It really helps when you have a broken item in the game. Most of the time, it's vaulted in tournaments. This would give ranked more of an identity. For Chapter 6 Season 2, I think in tournaments, a lot of the weapons that people had issues with were vaulted. The Kneecapper wasn't, but people weren't using it to fight because that's just not how you use it. And it was builds for those tournaments. You should be able to lose your rank. It should be something that you're actively fighting for. If you stop playing for a week, you should lose some percentage, or even after a couple days. We don't even have a top 500 or top 1000 or anything for this game. Ranked needs an overhaul, and it's needed it ever since it launched. The issue with ranked is Epic tries to cater to the casual player base, when in reality, it's a competitive mode. It's not made for casuals. It's made for the people that take the game more seriously. It's in the name. It's competitive or ranked or whichever. It doesn't matter. You get what I'm saying. The OG mode has been treated so horribly, and it will probably never get better. I don't want to look at every single thing that has happened to this already. I want to look more at what they could do. I might sprinkle in a little bit of what they have done. But to fix this mode, you need to remove bots. This will let players actually see how they'll do against 99 random real people. I still remember my first few wins in Season 1, and it was because it was all up to chance, and if I had the skill to win. Actually, my first win wasn't even with skill. It was because the last players eliminated each other with snipers.
So he's aiming in. He gets sniped. They killed each other! They fucking killed each other! They had such on-point snipes, they fucking killed each other.
And I remember that not because it was on stream, but because I was getting slapped around for that entire time. I was so used to fighting bots and the same type of players over and over that I didn't know what it felt like to lose consistently. So it became challenging, and I wanted to overcome that challenge. Don't just let this mode suffer from bugs and glitches. AlleyJax, someone on Twitter, has had to make threads of all the things that are wrong with the mode, and most of it doesn't even get addressed by the Fortnite status account. Something simple like grass realistically doesn't matter, but it's one of the main things that is wrong with the game mode. Epic decided to make it so that it's 12 storm circles instead of the original 9. They have rifts and zip lines in builds when they should only be in 0 builds. Certain weapons and items aren't like their actual OG counterparts. A few examples are mini shields can only stack in 6 instead of the original 10. Big shields stack in 3 instead of the original 2. The slurp juice gives 75 effective health instead of the original 25 HP and 25 shield over time. Another problem is that Epic just dumped all the content for Season 3 randomly and didn't look back. They didn't do it week by week like what Fortnite used to do, and the mode has just progressively gotten worse. The HUD isn't OG, and sometimes we randomly get weapons that don't even belong in the chapter. Altogether, Epic sabotaged this mode. On top of this, you have the OG pass, which is garbage now. Season 1 and 2 had recreations of skins that you can't get anymore because they are exclusive. It makes sense to create a remix and cater to the new age of players that can't get those skins anymore. However, Season 3 has skins that were all accessible in the item shop at at one time or another. This completely defeats the purpose of the OG pass. Personally, I think these skins aren't as good looking, but that's just me. The issue still lies in it being the item shop skins. Epic is killing this mode on purpose as a told you so moment, but that's just a theory. In the middle of me writing this, it's been stated that lobbies consist of 8 real players sometimes. That is 92 bots per game. That's horrible. I also forgot to add, ranked for OG is pointless since you already have skill-based matchmaking and there's no real tournaments for OG, like you don't make money. Ranked makes no sense when the mode is supposed to be competitive, but actual Chapter 1 of Fortnite was not really made with tournaments in mind. That was just something that happened later on. I was going to talk about Reload super in depth, but there isn't really anything wrong with this mode besides Siphon, but Epic will never add it in the state that people want. Third partying is basically the main thing for this mode, so it makes sense to give players health on their kills. But the mode can be fun regardless. However, I think the type of players that play this mode, like the superhero skin Star 1 pickaxe players, are the reason why some people might not like to play it. Epic only launched this mode when the car season was seeing a sharp decline in players, and they've also shot this mode sometimes in the foot, like making the loot pool terrible so people would play the other modes instead, but that's just a theory. No, I'm kidding. Okay, sorry. Creative is one of the worst best things to happen to this game. It's slop. There's an insane use of AI for the thumbnails, and there's just a bunch of copies of other people's maps that already exist. But when it first dropped, there was a lot of people coming up with brand new ideas and fun stuff. But the main thing you see now is red versus blue, that and tycoon maps. They have predatory things built in so that children play longer, like a timer that unlocks basically next to nothing. It's just dog shit after 30 minutes or an hour. And all of this is done because Epic pays people to do this. You can make a map officially, and Epic will pay you based on how many people you have play it and for how long. There are some maps that are good, but they don't always get attention. The algorithm for creative is pretty bad, and creative is the main reason we have this shitty ass UI. And realistically, creative is the only reason this game has like 500k players at any given time, or at least half of that. It just keeps kids playing all the time instead of playing the actual game. They did look into the whole XP map issue, but it seems like they won't ever really acknowledge the issue of everything being the exact same and unoriginal. Altogether, creative is something that could have a lot of talent, like it's merged with the Unreal Engine and stuff like that. There's supposed to be a bunch of extra things added for it, but right now, it's just Fortnite for kids. Save the World, my favorite mode. How badly they have treated you over the years. I'm sorry to say it to the people who are fans of Save the World, like myself, but it's never going to receive a big update ever again. They'll keep pushing out packs because it makes them money, but ventures, the story, the same modes, all of it is going to stay the exact same. It will stay a very overcomplicated mess that once you understand that mess, the game is basically over. If you're a founder, make sure to get your V-Bucks, but if you bought the game even a day after they canceled it, you suck. You didn't get infinite V-Bucks. And Epic won't ever give that to people without having them complete challenges, and you need to pay for those challenges. They're also very limited. I have a lot to say about Save the World, but I can't even really get it out. This mode was promised to be free to play in 2018 or 19. They said the story is finished, when in the universe of Fortnite, the story could continue literally forever. But Tencent invested in Epic way before Save the World was coming out, but they were working on it, and the game just sort of became this gacha game instead of a better version of 7 Days to Die. It was going to be an open world survival game, but that didn't happen because we have to make the big corporations happy. And since they were sued for basically gambling for children or something like that, you can no longer pay for llamas. So they gave up on it because they can't get more money out of you. I think something that always pissed me off was how content creators were so positive and pushed for the metaverse, but even Donald Mustard himself wrote down that Save the World, or PvE, is a part of the metaverse. Creators never acknowledged it. They never even tried it. They ignored it. This mode gets more players than a lot of the metaverse shit that we have now, and that is embarrassing. I will forever appreciate how Cypher actually tried it out several times, and even came back to play it when they had Hunt the Titan for an update. Homie has got some big balls. If Save the World was getting consistent updates, or even an ounce of respect and care, I probably wouldn't make this video. I would maybe talk a little bit about it, but I would just be a Save the World YouTuber. But because I know that there isn't really a light at the end of the tunnel for Save the World, it feels a bit depressing to play. It's kind of draining. I'm putting LEGO, Festival, and Rocket Racing into the same section because they aren't big enough to separate them. LEGO is the most promising, but the issue is the game is based around a free-to-play model, which makes it so that everything you earn is probably because you have the LEGO Pass. Their free rewards are not that interesting, I'll be honest. They gave up on selling LEGO sets, and now they're just selling $5 bundles with a skin. I know they finished the mode, technically. They added the equivalent to the Ender Dragon, and I was going to play and try and beat it on stream, but I don't even want to attempt it anymore. I also never liked that there was a build build limit in one area, it becomes too condensed, so you can't build anything. So you can't build like a super big castle. LEGO had around 2 million concurrent players at one point, and now the mode sits around 20k average. With an update, it might shoot up to 50k or a little bit higher. Obviously, any game would love that amount of players, but they had 2 million players, and they went down to 50k. That is an insane dip, and it's all because Epic gave a very bare bones experience and then didn't add anything new for a while, so everyone just left. We have 2 other little modes for LEGO. One is just a GTA ripoff kind of thing. I don't really understand how it works. My little sister used to play it and then she just completely stopped. And then the other is a fast-paced survival mode, but these modes have basically never been above 10k unless it was their release. The time that went into these modes should have just been spent on the actual LEGO game mode itself. And now we have Festival. If it weren't for collabs like Snoop Dogg, Sabrina Carpenter, Miku, literally all the collabs that they've done, this mode would probably be dead by now, but obviously we're going to get collabs and I understand it. But the side modes for Festival can't even hit 900 players because they're not really updated anymore. The main and only issue with Festival is that they decided to limit how many songs are in the shop at one time. They made it so that there's a rotation between songs, so now it's all about FOMO. FOMO stands for fear of missing out. It's a predatory practice to try and get people to spend money now rather than later when they actually have the extra cash. The reason they may feel inclined to buy it now is because they're afraid it won't be there anymore. If you don't think FOMO exists or what I'm saying is false, this screenshot was taken roughly a week before this video is supposed to go out. As you can see, certain songs are leaving that night. I could say that songs are a little bit overpriced, but they actually have more of a use now. Like you can change your lobby music and even the music for when you drop out the bus or get a win. The one good thing with instruments is how they can be used as pickaxes and back blings. I still don't like that they're included in bundles because that inflates the price, but at least you have more of a use for them. In my opinion, rocket racing only exists right now so that Fortnite has more of a reason to sell cars in the item shop. Cars that are extremely overpriced. Epic owns the company that made Rocket League, that's why it's free to play now, and the Rocket League item shop is way better than what we're getting in Fortnite. You can purchase things separately and choose if you actually want just the car or not, and it's been great. Another problem I've had is that I have around 20 different car bodies in Rocket League. I've earned these before the game was even free to play. You used to have to pay for this game. I even have cars that I spent money on, like the Jurassic Park Jeep or the McLaren. They actually added a different version of the McLaren, which is pretty funny. I didn't get it because it's a different model, and I have not seen these get added to Fortnite. But anytime Rocket League comes out with a new Rocket Pass, there's always new cosmetics that are included. Makes sense? Even a new car. Those are always available in Fortnite day one. I do feel like these modes were rushed, and realistically, we can't go back and change anything, so might as well say what they could do now. Hire more people to properly work on each mode and make the games their own standalone titles rather than just relying on the Fortnite IP. But we know that Epic will never do that because big higher-ups need their paycheck. I already made my video talking about Ballistic, so I don't want to go super deep in this video, but the best way to explain it if you haven't watched that,
it's the biggest piece of dog shit,
is if any other game came out right now, launched in the state that Ballistic was in. It's the same type of game, and it took 5 months to barely add any changes, barely add any weapons, and they only added 3 new maps that don't even have textures, the game would be dead. A prime example of this, actually, is Shroud CSGO ripoff, or it was a ripoff of Valorant, it doesn't really matter. It's the same sort of thing. The game is dead because it doesn't try to innovate. It just does what we've already seen. Yeah, it might look a little different, have some random idea, maybe a little bit of, abilities, but it's not blowing people away or really trying to separate itself from its source. I could even say that Fragpunk is doing better. And you want to know why? It's because the card system is very innovative and actually changes up the entire game and can change everything. And they even have it where the overtime system is completely different. They make it so that a player from each team has to 1v1 until there's only one player left on one team. That is cool. I don't even play Fragpunk and I still think that's cool. LTMs are something that the Fortnite community always loved. If the mode wasn't that good, it was okay, because we just wouldn't see it that frequently, and Epic would just try something else. I think what people often overlook is how Epic treats the game overall when it comes to LTMs, and when you consider creative, it completely changes the game. Epic knows that players can just make their own LTMs, and others will play those instead, so Epic doesn't have to quote-unquote waste their time on part of the game. They just let everyone else do the work. We've gotten several leaks since Chapter 5 about how this or that LTM is coming or being worked on. It sounds like a cool idea, and then poof, game mode never comes out, it's never spoken of again, and we just never see it. There was supposed to be another Marvel LTM where you just use the powers. As of me writing this, we have yet to get the Air Royale LTM, which would be a collab with Star Wars, and you could use TIE fighters instead. Unique idea, I like it, I'll take it. During Season 2 of Chapter 6, there was supposed to be a melee-only LTM, or even a Mortal Kombat LTM, and we didn't get them. We don't get LTMs besides the ones that Epic has already made in the past. This is why I say they reuse old code and whatever is easiest. We've gotten the Floor is Lava 50 vs 50 and the Getaway LTM. I will say that the Getaway LTM was the biggest L because it had ranked. A ranked mode for something that is limited time makes no sense. It's supposed to be like a party mode. It also splits players up way too much and effectively killed this mode. They also gave no rewards for the Getaway besides XP, which means less people will play. The original gave a pickaxe, and I remember playing it a lot with friends because of that. Giving rewards for stuff will go a long way. I don't think we'll get LTMs that much anymore. For Epic, it's a waste of time, a waste of money. They're just not going to do it. If creative wasn't a thing, I bet they would. I want to be clear that I have never downright hated this game. I've never wanted this game to fail, or any part of it to fail. I didn't like the metaverse because I knew what that meant for the rest of the Battle Royale in the long term, and overall, I just wanted the game to get better, so I was willing to say what others weren't. I don't believe the devs are the problem. They're like the fast food workers that are just told to do their job and that's it. They can't really say no to anything. I'm trying to give as much grace as I can because I know when I say Epic is lazy, some people take that as I'm only talking about the devs. That statement refers to the public image and what Fortnite has shown us over time. Yeah, they've done some very great things, but when you really look at it, there's a lot of stuff that they're not doing. I know some people have specifically stated that I tried to put an Epic employee on blast because of the Doom live event, but in reality, and if you just go back and watch that part of the video, I make fun of how they're clearly just sexualizing Doom in a kid's game, or at least I hint at it. She's the senior writer for Fortnite and Lego Fortnite, so there's a bit of like notoriety there or whatever. She's posted some things on her Twitter that sort of imply that there's like, if she's one of the main people writing this stuff and like more or less a head honcho, she really wanted or like pushed for having Doom be large. Like there may not have been an actual reason for that, and it's kind of just weird to see online. Doesn't really matter though. It's just like, what the fuck is going on? That is weird. Imagine the people behind Adventure Time were actually animating and writing things a certain way so that they could just bust a nut to it. That shit is weird. Attacking people on the internet is weird. I don't support that, but I do support defending myself. The person in particular that said I was putting an Epic employee on blast is Cuzzle2. Probably a great guy. I don't know him. I've never spoken to him one-on-one in a group setting or anything literally at all. Maybe he messaged something during my streams. I don't remember. He had made a video talking about Fortnite controversies where I was included towards the end. Totally fine. Anyone can say whatever they want about me, honestly. You can say you do or you don't like me. I know I'm not everyone's cup of tea. In that section of the video, Cuzzle2 talks about how I act in my videos and how I can come off as a dick or even alienate some of my viewers.
He's gotten a lot of flack for just saying his opinion. However, the problem really isn't what his opinions are, it's how he portrays them. He is so overtly negative in almost every video that he makes, and I get it. If you don't like something, he should be free to criticize it, and that's true. But saying your opinion is one thing, and being a dick is another. He makes these arguments that alienate the viewer, actively belittling people he disagrees with.
I thought about it a good bit, and I know I can sound dickish. I say things without a customer service voice or a nice tone, and I might respond to people negatively, because in my experience, there's a lot of people out there on the internet that will comment and say whatever they feel, sometimes being negative. The best option is to ignore it, and I'm getting better about that. But sometimes, I'll comment back with the same energy because I see it as fair game. I might say something in a video, like, if you think the bat is balanced, you're an idiot. To some people, you might feel alienated, but to others, you might not understand why. And I need to do a better job about explaining why, rather than just pushing it off because, to me, it seems very obvious, but to others, you might have no clue. You just need a little bit of help understanding, and I've failed to see that sometimes. The bat is not a balanced item. If you're someone that says it is balanced, and you full-heartedly mean that, and you don't see any other side to it, that is why I say you're an idiot. I will say that in Cuzzle2's video, he just seemed to talk about me as the creator, rather than any of the actual controversies that has been around me. Controversy is a very big word. It was drama. That's all it was.
Best example of this isn't actually in any of his Fortnite videos, it's in this one on Marvel Rivals. In it, he talks about how good of a support character Rocket is, and he's mostly positive throughout it. However, for seemingly no reason, he goes off on this unrelated rant about how much he hates Jeff the Shark.
Future Bennjipie stepping in a little bit just to kind of help with what I'm trying to talk about. Puzzle2 says specifically that I just go on a random rant talking about how much I don't like Jeff the Shark, but I give very good examples as to why Jeff the Shark was not a good support at that time. Now, obviously, this is months and months and months ago. They're reworking Jeff and, you know, the game. That doesn't really matter, but this is talking about then. And say we need to put the worst support title onto Jeff the Shark. I still think he's cute, but Jeff is very one-dimensional at this moment. His ult is only used for one thing, and that's jumping off the map with people that he swallows. Now, there are a few outliers that I've seen of people comboing the ult with Jeff the Shark, but that doesn't really happen as much. The Act Man, in his own video on Marvel Rivals, gives some pretty good points I agree with, and I wanted to share that clip with you all, so here you go.
The issue is almost everyone is using this ultimate the same way, to suicide dive off the map and score cheap, easy team wipes. But he needs to be balanced more like Tom Kench. I like the impact Jeff's ult has, but there has to be a drawback. Some incentive to use it more carefully, or decide if you want to spit out teammates or not, instead of everybody using it as a fucking kamikaze technique.
The section is labeled Bennjipie, and anytime he opens his mouth, so maybe I myself am the drama, I don't know. For me as a creator, I rant. Except it's not the ranting like endless talking without shutting up and I just keep yipper yappering whatever. No, I'm just very passionate and I give more of my feelings rather than just giving information like a robot or news and leaving it at that. I like to make it clear when I do or don't like something. So for thumbnails on videos, I say if something is terrible or good or bad. And you might notice that when it comes to Fortnite, there's a lot of bad. Puzzle2 took 2 of my clips out of context to make it seem like I was being hypocritical. The first clip being me talking about trying to have a civil conversation, but after that video, I realized that that's not always the case because it's the internet, obviously. I think everyone is allowed to feel the way that they do, but being respectful and keeping things civil is what leads to a better conversation between both sides. All you motherfuckers can suck my dick. And the second clip was me responding to how people called me a hater or just a negative Nancy grifter when Cypher PK, probably the most famous content creator right now, echoed the same sentiment of my videos that were calling Epic lazy and saying that they were adding too much. Now, these clips were taken months and months apart from each other. There's a lot of time that can change from that. A lot of people don't see that older video and they instead see what's going on now. I will stand at the mountaintop. I will be as high in the fucking air as I possibly need to. I was right, and all you motherfuckers can suck my dick. I'm very forward thinking, and I'm not trying to look back all the time that much, unless it's something that's current. Cypher didn't point out my video specifically, but he said very similar things, and I saw a lot of people agree with him, and that made me realize that people just wanted to win when it came to disagreeing with me, rather than actually being right in that conversation. I said those people can suck my nuts, which clearly, I could say much worse, but it was just because I wanted to have a little bit of fun, kick those people while they're down as a I told you so, because when it comes to games, I kind of know how they work. I don't know how to make them, but I know how certain things look. Someone that, watches me pointed it out and brought it to my attention. Puzzle2 responded to a random comment on that same video a little bit later after that video was uploaded, where he claims that he tried to reach out to me and I never responded. Also claims that I won't accept the apology from the people that reacted to my videos and I'm choosing to stay mad. I looked through practically everything to find if Puzzle2 talked to me. I have nothing that says he did, and if so, I'm sorry, I just didn't see it. Or maybe he deleted it, I don't know. I'd love to talk stuff out because one of the creators that did react to my stuff actually ended up talking with me on Twitter, that being Clen. For further proof of that, on Clen's video, he pinned a comment that stated, "We talked it out." So, there you go. Clark Clint and Jojo Josiah were the other people that reacted to my content, and at one point, and several points in time, I was mad about it. But realistically, I think all of that is behind us. Clark, Clen, and Jojo make their own sort of content. They share their own opinions like how I share mine, and they're doing their own thing. I bet they're doing great and making moves. I wish them nothing but the best. I think it's a human response to not feel the greatest when people are being critical of your work. Like if you aren't asking for any critiquing, you're gonna feel weird about it when someone does it. But that was when I was getting a lot more attention than what I was used to on the internet. And now that I understand more of what it means to be on social media in this capacity, I know how to take that and move on. I tried reaching out through the comment section. I even said something on Twitter and tagged him. I hope maybe in the future we can talk stuff out, but if he doesn't, I'll leave it at that. Don't harass anyone I talk about in my videos. I bet they're all great people. Sometimes we just wake up on the wrong side of the bed. It happens. I have a couple extra things to talk about. Some parts of this community are downright annoying as fuck. People who care a lot about skins and rarities, like the last time a skin was seen was 1,000 days ago, and that means it's rare, so if it does come back, I should get an OG style because I had it first. People like that ruin the fun of collecting a skin or just enjoying a skin, period. I don't like that Fortnite put exclusives in the battle pass or in the item shop and can't just figure out some workaround or take a hit to their pocket to give people a better experience on the game. If they are catering more to how much you spend on the game rather than how much you play, we should just have all the old battle passes back. I don't understand all the lingo and everything that goes on behind that, but it's easier said than done is what I'm saying. I'm someone that has a lot of rare ass items, and I simply don't care if any of them come back. I think everything should be available. If it's a collab, it shouldn't be some limited time thing. Battle passes should be able to return. It would be nice to be able to one day get everything in the game, but because of, stuff like Travis Scott not being able to come back to the shop, that means you're never going to be able to 100% your locker. And obviously that's a lot of money, but there's people who are trying to do that. Remember when we would randomly get a trailer for an item like the minigun or a porta-fort? Fortnite doesn't do that anymore. They put money into the trailers for skins and emotes. God, there's so much that is just wrong with this game. It's gotten so much worse over time. This current season of Fortnite has Darth Vader AI. Why the fuck are we using AI? I understand the fun idea and concept, but do you think James Earl Jones would have signed off on letting them use AI for his voice if that meant the character could have a lisp? Or say slurs, swear words, literally everything.
To replace all S with TH.
Replace S with TH. You say, this is an odd request, Marianne. My truth is the peach impediment doeth not impede.
I need you to extend out all of your vowel sounds in order for us to achieve victory.
Extending voo well sounds for the entire match.
What freaking fucking food is that, Darth Vader? Tell me.
Double down.
Freaking fucking. Such vulgarity.
Some of it's gotten fixed, but not all of it. AI doesn't make sense for Darth Vader, especially because you can ask him questions like, what is skibbity? And he'll have an opinion on it rather than saying he doesn't know what it is. Because, like, 40 years ago, the character died. Darth Vader's dead. He has no way of knowing what that is. And there's a bunch of different examples of stuff like that. It actually would have been better for them to use the AI voice for pre-generated responses. Like how you can talk to the NPCs and you can talk to Darth Vader, but instead of a text bubble above his head like how other NPCs show up, he would just talk to you and you could hear it. You could do this for any character going forward and you wouldn't even have to use AI. You don't even have to use AI for Vader. You could actually just pay people, pay voice actors. I will say one of the best things I've seen in a while, and it actually doesn't have to do with the game itself, it was the FNCS Pro-Am. Seeing all the clips and how happy people seemed to be was a nice breath of fresh air. It was a lot of people from different corners of the game coming together and actually interacting. The sad part about the Pro-Am was that Peterbot was included, and I don't hate him or anything, I really don't care. I have my own opinions, but it was very obvious he was going to win. Like, by a mile, he destroyed everyone. It just wasn't really that fair. But the community around this game can be very good. The clips around the FNCS and all that were very nice to see. We just don't really get stuff like that anymore. We don't even get very interesting tournament LTMs or anything. It's very disconnected. But to send this video off, I like the game at its core. I don't like the game that it is now. It's a very corporate piece of slop. It's all about money rather than player enjoyment. It's like player engagement rather than actual enjoyment. They don't really respect their players. Yes, they respect people that are, epic partners and all that stuff, but that's not everyone. They just want as much money out of you as they can get so that they can make shareholders happy. I'm gonna be making videos on other games from now on. If Fortnite gets better in the future, maybe I'll come back. Maybe I'll just stream it a little bit or something. But the game I loved and really enjoyed is now a shell of its former self, so I have to let it go. I hope that if you support my content, I'll be seeing you around with my other videos. I think I'll keep it to just commentary, and maybe on my second channel I'll put like gameplay or something, or funny moments, whatever. I want to be entertaining for you as the viewer, just you, and limiting myself as much as I have to one specific thing has really strained my creativity and especially my enjoyment. I know there's more that I can offer to my channel, and over the next few months I want to demonstrate that. Thank you all for watching. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel to see me on my journey, and comment down below letting me know how you feel about Fortnite. Eat water, drink food, stay safe. See ya.